I've been getting a lot of manga recommendations, but before I get to reading them and I get to actually talk about them, I want to talk about a manga that I've read before and I've just recently reread, and it is still very good. Today we're talking about Monster by Naoki Urasawa. Monster is a story about a doctor who sets out to find the antagonist, the monster Johan. This doctor, whose name is Tenma, tends to heal people not only as a doctor but heals their characters, shaping them to be better people. Now, this story is just captivating within the first probably 25 chapters. The first 15 chapters actually tell you what the story is going to be about. They serve as a prologue to the actual story. So it's basically a setup for the first 15 chapters, and the rest of the story just chapter by chapter. It's just information on information, and everything just makes sense as you continue to read the story. So we've discussed the main character, and a story is only good as its villain. Now we will talk about the villain, who is Johan. This nigga carries the whole story, bro. Now, as I said, a story is only good as its villain, but damn, when you have a villain like Johan, it's not just a good story, it is legendary, bro. He is the best written villain that I have ever read. I've read some incredible villains throughout my whole lifespan, my whole time. I've never seen a character like Johan, a manipulative character who is 100% always one step ahead. Nobody can stop him. Whenever he makes a plan, literally nobody can stop him. He is a broken character because of his childhood traumas that he faces as a kid, obviously, and these things actually shape up what sort of a villain he is today. One of my favorite lines that Johan says is, "The only thing all humans are equal in is death." This line I agree with. It is true. We are in a world that has so much racism, so many stereotypes, so much hate for people, whether it's about their gender and so forth, right? But the only time that we can agree on something, the only time that we can see eye to eye is in death, because that is the only thing that we can all get equally, which is death. We all can live equally, but we can all die equally. And I think this line just opened my eyes to this, because it is actually true. Johan was right in saying this, and it was just like, wow. There are so many amazing lines in the show, in the story, but this one is definitely by far my favorite line in the story, 100%. Now, as I did in the previous video, the Berserk video, I mentioned things that I like and things that I dislike. So with Monster, here are the things that I enjoyed the most. The story isn't afraid to portray themes such as racism, which makes sense as many events in the story take place after World War II, and the story is inspired by the work of the Nazi. You can see this in the story with the whole experiment, the creation of the new Adolf Hitler. It's actually really incredible, the story, and obviously the theme it tries to portray with the racism makes sense, as this is just directly after each of these events. They happen directly after World War II, the fall of the Berlin Wall, and all of those things, right? The art style is also something that I enjoy. It does well to show the emotion of fear, and it also does well to portray the characters who are emotionless throughout the whole story, who are basically dead inside. And especially when it comes to its characterization of fear, it does very well, because these niggas are always shit scared when Johan is around, and I don't blame them. After reading the story about 2 or 3 times, Johan creeps the fuck out of me, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know about you guys, but it's not just him, but the things that happen to him, the things that actually got him to be Johan, the monster. The stuff that happens in this manga are just so messed up. If you think about it, if those were your kids in the orphanages and all that, trust me, it's just a bad thing to happen. I don't really want to give a lot of details in terms of the story, as if you're new and you haven't read the story yet, then I'm trying to actually get you to read the story without actually spoiling it for you. So definitely try to give it a read. It is amazing. Now, the story sends a good message that society, especially your parents, can influence what you become, what you can become as you grow. This is something that a lot of people take for granted. Society can impact who you become as a character. Your parents can influence your decisions. Whatever information you take as a child will define teaching you. And I feel like a lot of people take this for granted. I mean, obviously we judge sociopaths and all those mentally ill people. We judge them for doing these fucked up things, but in truth, everybody has layers to why they do things. There are layers to why someone does something, and that's something that we take for granted in society. And I think that this story does well to actually portray that. It actually sends the message so well that every single monster is created by another monster, and that is a phenomenal message to send to a reader. It's actually a very interesting story. I also enjoy the serious tone. It fits well with the events of the story, as there's barely time to crack a joke, because I mean, Johan is always waiting for you to slip up, bro. If you think you're gonna have time to have fun in this story, bro, it just takes one bullet, man. One bullet to just destroy all of that. This story, man, there isn't time to really sit back and try to have a moment to yourself, because everything that Johan touches affects everyone around that city or town, and everybody just, their lives get messed up by each and everything that Johan does. And just by you thinking that you can have time for yourself, that's Johan getting ready to work on you, my nigga. Like, there ain't no time for that. Always be on top form, bro. Always be alert in the story, or else you gonna catch it, bro. You gonna get that bullet. But anyway, there aren't a lot of negatives in the story, but there is one. The main character for me isn't interesting. The other main protagonist, who is Anna Liebert, is a more interesting character than the main character himself. Now, I did say that a story is only as good as its villain, but the main character as well has to stand out at some point, and I didn't get that from Tenma, but I guess this is how the story was supposed to be. But even though Tenma for me wasn't an interesting character, I was interested in what he would do to actually expose the monster. I was interested in how he would do that, not the character himself, but what he would do to the antagonist. That was kind of interesting, but I wish there was more to Tenma's character in terms of why he isn't close to his family. We don't really get answers for that, but I guess that's how the author wanted the story to be about actually the antagonist. When you read the story, you're actually reading the story of the antagonist rather than the protagonist. So the story is actually about the monster, not truly about the main character. So maybe that is why it is like that. Now, if you love murder mystery stories or thriller, then this story is for you. I wasn't a fan until I read Monster, and I won't lie, I think I'm gonna read more murder mystery stories, and I want to read more of Naoki Urasawa's work. I saw 20th Century Boys. I'm gonna give that a shot. Always expect a plot twist in the story, because everything is connected. Because here's the thing, they can be talking about a character in like chapter 20, and that character actually is tied to everything in the later chapters, and you should always pay attention, read slowly, take in the information, take in the panels, everything, the words, the emotion, as all these things will be brought up later on. So is Monster worth reading? 100%. It is definitely worth reading. It is a phenomenal story. Now, before I end the video, I have a question for you. Drop it in the comment section once you have the answer. Who is the bigger monster? The monster itself, or the one who creates the monster? If you have the answer, drop it in the comment section, because I believe that the person who creates the monster is more dangerous than the monster itself. Now, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment on manga recommendations, and also answer the question. Please recommend more manga so I can read and interact with you guys. I will be reading Vagabond next week because it was recommended, and I'm gonna give it a shot. I've never read Vagabond. I've never seen anything about Vagabond yet. I know it's about a samurai, so I'm gonna check that out. So yeah, subscribe, like, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one, man. Peace.